All right, welcome to Thursday Night Yoga, and let's start on our mats. We're gonna do a class that is gonna be pretty chill, kind of an after work wind down, opening chest, opening hips, getting some movement in the spine. So we'll just start seated on our mats, cross-legged, and then just rolling the shoulders up and back, letting go of some of the tension that's accumulated throughout the week, throughout the year, throughout the lifetime. Good, and if it feels good, you can also roll them up into the front. So you're just opening up the back. Awesome. Oh yeah. And then just come to neutral, letting your spine be nice and tall and lifting up your crown towards the ceiling. And then taking your right hand and placing it down on just beside you. We're gonna open up the left side by reaching the left arm up and then over, just giving a really nice side stretch here. We're gonna bring some movement into this in a second, but for now, let's just breathe here. On your exhale, you might come out a bit, and then on your inhale, then exhale, you might fold even deeper. Inhaling again. And on this exhale, you're gonna bring your hand down and around, and then left hand to the ground, and right arm now is stretching up and over. Perfect. Now let's breathe here for 2 nice, deep, long breaths. Make sure your shoulder isn't up near your ear. Relax your right shoulder. Inhaling, maybe you reach up a bit, and exhaling, folding even, yeah, nice, folding even deeper. Yeah, and then inhaling again, and on the exhale now, doing the same thing and reaching out in front of you in kind of a half circle motion. And now we're just gonna move with this. We're gonna kind of just flow from side to side to get some movement. Movement in the spine, in the back, and as you reach forward, you should feel some stretch in your lower back and maybe in your hips. So we're just now moving this stretch from the side and to the front and the other side. Good. You might feel kind of funny doing this, but if you just let your body release into it, it can feel really good and really soothing. Awesome. And then when you're ready, just coming back to neutral. Changing the cross of your legs so that your hips and knees don't get sore. We're just gonna do a really nice, relaxing twist. That works considering twist is now on your lap, enjoying yoga with you. So now we're doing cat yoga. Good. Inhale, reaching the arms up to the sky. If you can, if you can't, because you have a cat on you, no problem. And then exhaling over to the right. Stay here for a couple breaths. Just feeling that rinsing out in your upper back. Inhaling, lifting up, and exhaling one more time. Then on the next inhale, coming to neutral again. And we're gonna move to the other side. Inhaling, arms come up, and exhaling, twisting now to the left. And then inhaling and exhaling here. Your twist can really look however you need it to look and whatever you need in this moment. Inhaling one more time and exhaling, maybe twisting a tiny bit deeper, and then on the inhale, coming on back to neutral. Awesome. Let's bring the legs out in front of us now, just to kind of stretch out, maybe release by pumping the knees a bit, moving around there. Taking your hands now behind you, I'm gonna move this way. Just reaching your hands behind you. And then we're gonna open up the chest. This is a really gentle chest opener. Good. It maybe doesn't look like much, but you're stretching through the chest, the collarbone. If you lift your gaze up to the sky, you're stretching through your throat, opening up your throat chakra so you can be effective in your communication. And breathing here. This is a really good one if you're hunched over your desk. Good, and then letting that go. Now let's come around to our knees. We're gonna come to hands and knees. And even if you have a cat on your back, that can work. Good, and now if you can, with the cat on your back, we're gonna do some cats and cows. So inhaling, dropping the belly, looking up. And then on the exhale, if you can, round up. Oh, there he goes, he jumped off. Inhaling, opening up, looking up, tail up. Exhaling, folding. And then what we'll do is we're kind of go from side to side. So it's like almost like you're wagging your tail, or you're moving your hips from left to right now. I just had a couple cracks, back releases there, some adjustments. That should feel good. And then you can come back and do another couple classic cat-cows if you like. Inhaling, looking up, dropping your belly, and then exhaling, rounding the spine, pushing up. A few more like that. Exhaling. Inhaling, then coming to neutral. Okay, let's continue to open up our chest and shoulders. So now I want you to walk your hands forward, maybe a foot, and then you're going to let your chest sink down to the mat. Actually, I'm going to walk my hands out a bit more. It's going to be more like 2 feet. And then your chest sink down into puppy pose. This should feel good. If not, just release out of it a bit. So now we're opening up the armpits, chest, shoulders. One more breath. And then bring your hands back up. We're going to go into a modified side plank now. So keeping your right hand down on the mat and your right knee down, you can take your right foot though and move it out a bit. You're going to basically kickstand that right leg so that you can open up with your left side into a modified plank. Good. Just feeling that stretch now down through your hip and to the outside of your left foot. And then if you want, you can reach your left hand towards the wall in front of you for a deeper stretch. Good. And now if you want, for some mobility in the shoulder, you can bring that arm and circle it around, back, up, and around. Good. That should feel good in the shoulder. You can change directions then. Yes. Just getting some movement into the shoulder and back. Okay, good. When you're ready, come back to neutral. And then bring your hand down to the mat now. We're just gonna switch sides. So coming onto the left knee, left hand, moving the left foot out a bit, and then opening up your right side now. I'm just gonna switch. There we go. Opening up your right side, feeling the stretch all the way from your rib cage down to the side of your left foot. Feeling your chest open up. And then if you want, Yeah, bring that stretch even deeper as your hand comes to the front of the room. And then you can circle around with the arm, only if that feels good. Yeah. Change directions when you want, if you want. Good, one more big circle, and then hand comes down to the ground. Now coming back into all fours, and we're gonna push back into a downward dog, just for a little bit to open up the backs of the legs, tucking toes, letting your bum float up to the sky. If you're congested, I would say just go into a child's pose. I can even feel this a little bit in my head. It's a little much. So we'll only stay here for a second, pushing into the mat with your hands. And then let's just walk to the top of the mat now. And then let's just slowly roll up. We won't stay in that forward fold for too long. Slowly roll up, shoulders up and down. Now we're at the top of our mat in a mountain pose. Good. Just take a breath or two here. Feeling your feet grounding into the mat. Feeling your mind settling and the stressors of the day rolling down into the earth. Mother Earth catching those stressors and washing them away, and knowing that you can move on tonight with a clean slate just for a little bit. Good, so let's continue. Let's work now into our hips a little bit, just because of course sitting and you know, all the work tightens our hips quite a bit. So we'll take the right leg and we'll swing it back in space, and we'll just come into a high lunge, just a regular good old high lunge. So trying to get that front knee above the ankle, and then we'll take the hands and clasp the hands behind your back. So at the same time as we're opening our right hip, we're going to open up our chest and our collarbone. Good. And if this feels good, you can stay here for a couple minutes. And then if it's better for you, you can sink your knee, your back knee down into the ground and do a low lunge. Just as good for the hips. One more deep breath here. Good, and then if you're on your knee, I want you to lift back up, straighten the front leg, bring the right foot or the back foot in a bit so your stance is a little less wide. Let go of the hands, and we're just gonna forward fold in a second into a pyramid pose. So the way I like to do this is I like to put my hands on my hips, because it really is a hip hinge. So you want your hips to be square to the front of the mat, and then inhaling, opening up almost like a little bit of a back bend, and then hinging from the hips. And you might only go down a little bit before you really feel your left hamstring saying hi. So this is as far as I can go. And then you can take your hands and place them gently on wherever is available to you. So mine is my upper thigh. Yeah, you can put them on the floor or blocks or the mat. And then just breathing in to your left hamstring. Pushing your left hip back in space. You'll feel an intensification there. Good. And then we're going to try something from here. We're going to open up the right back foot. We're going to go into triangle without coming up. So opening up the right back foot to face the front of the mat. Maybe you change your stance a little bit, but basically you're going to go into a triangle from here. So left hand coming down, right arm reaching up to the sky. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, perfect. You're in a wonderful T shape there. And then just make sure you're not collapsing and making sure that your torso is working for you. 2 breaths here. Good, and then you're gonna tighten through the core and lift yourself on up. Let go of your arms. Good, and then we're gonna take both feet and point them out now. And we're going to go into a goddess pose, so opening up through the hips more and also strengthening the quads. Woo, almost fell over. This is definitely a balance pose. So feet are pointed out, and when you want to breathe in, lifting up, opening up, crown up, and then exhale, coming down. Knees, you're trying to get them to match up with your big toes. So you're really pushing open your hips. Oh, good. That's intense. And then if it feels good to you, you can do a kind of a twisty maneuver here. So you can bring your right shoulder and try to point it down to the ground. And then you can switch sides. And as you're doing this, you'll notice that I'm like pushing my knees out with my hands for a greater stretch in the hips. Okay, and when you've had enough of that, slowly come on up, straightening those legs. And then we're gonna move to the other side. So right foot faces forward. We're gonna go into that high lunge now on the other side. I just have to adjust my mat. There we go. So high lunge on the right side now, or right foot facing forward. Just get settled in that position. Good, and then once you feel stable, taking your hands and clasping them behind your back so we can open up that chest, opening the throat, opening the heart. And then if you want, you can drop your back knee. Breathing a little bit more here. Oh. Feeling the legs working for you as well in this position. If your knee is dropped, bring it back up. Woo, as best as you can. And then letting the hands go, straightening the front leg, and then making your stance a little shorter. Perfect, because we'll go into pyramid now on this side. I'll use my blocks on this side just to demonstrate. So once you've got your stance situated, hands to hips, opening the heart up, stretching through the chest, and then hinging up the hips. And once you've gotten to the place where you still are keeping a flat back, then you can lower your hands down. Try not to round your back, try to keep it nice and straight and strong. And then just to give yourself a little bit more of a stretch in the right hamstring, I want you to take your right hip and move it back in space. Nice. Let's breathe here into the right hamstring. This is an active pose. Your legs are active, quads are engaged. Your back is nice and flat. That should feel really good. And then from here, we're gonna go into that triangle. So, open up the left foot. Right hand falls where it may. So that may be on the shin, might be on the floor, could be on a block. Yeah, and then you can even open up like this through the left hand. Awesome, and just breathe here. Making sure that you're lengthening through your torso. And then you can put your neck and look down if it hurts your neck. Making sure your breath is still deep here. Slight bend in the front knee. All right, releasing the arm, and then engaging through the core and bringing yourself now to standing. Good, and what we'll do is we will just hop to the front of our mats and take a moment here. Let's take a huge gulp of water. It's hard to find the time to drink enough throughout the day. Trying to catch up at night. Good idea. So then we'll meet back at the front of our mat here. And let's do a couple of half sun salutations to rinse that out. So inhaling, reaching up to the sky. Exhaling, forward fold. And then inhaling, flat back, halfway lift. Exhaling. On the inhale, sweep your arms up and around. Hands to heart. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhaling, opening, reaching. Exhaling, folding, letting it all go. Inhaling, flat back. Exhaling, folding once more. Inhaling, floating those arms up. Feeling the energy. Exhaling, hands to heart, bringing the energy down now. Grounding down through the feet. Feeling thankfulness and gratitude. Inhaling, up, arms reach, look up. Exhale, fold forward, let it go. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward again. Inhaling, sweeping the arms up. Opening up the energy and then bringing it right back down, grounding down. And hands come to the side now in mountain. Good. All right. We will do one more standing pose and then we'll come back down to the mat. We're going to do a balancing pose, so I hope that's okay. Sometimes they can get tricky, but we'll do our best. So this one's going to get deep into the hips. And so if it hurts at all, just let it go and do an alternative pose. But how we'll set it up is we'll ground down through the left foot. You want to spread your toes and make sure your foot is as grounded as possible. Good. And then lifting up the right knee, just lift it up into a 90-degree angle. Yeah. And then cross it over the left leg. Perfect. And now this might be enough of a stretch right here, and so you'll hold it in prayer. If you want, you can gently, sink into it. Sink into that right hip, finding your drishti, so gazing forward gently at a place that's steady in front of you. Good, and just focusing on that place while you breathe, making sure your shoulders are relaxed. Good, one more breath. And then we will come out slowly, so pushing up, and then letting the leg go. Nice, beautiful, and letting the hands go. Perfect, that looks really good. And then coming to the other side, so now grounding down through the right foot, stretching out those toes, making yourself a really sturdy foundation there. And then having your left leg lift up now, knee comes to a 90-degree angle. Make sure hips are coming on the same plane. Yeah, so when you lifted your left leg, when we lifted our left leg, our hips came up like this, but we want to make sure they're in the same plane. Awesome. And then, I'm already falling. Okay, hands to heart. No, sorry, yeah, you got it. Yeah, like that, hands to heart, and then sink back if that's available. Wow, I could sink back on the other foot, but this one's hard. Good, and then a couple of breaths here. Sorry, I have to come out. Keep going if you can for another 2 breaths. I'm gonna try one more time. One more breath. And then coming out gently. Releasing that left leg. Good, and then releasing the hands. Shake it up. Nice. Good balancing pose. Okay, let's move down to the floor now for the last, I don't know, 8 minutes. We will come down. Let's do, okay, I think we're gonna do, I really love this one, reversed plank or reverse tabletop. So the reverse plank is, you would have extend your legs in front of you, bring your hands behind you. Now your fingers can point in or out or side, whatever's best. And then for the, what did I just call it? Reverse plank. For the reverse plank, so you'd inhale, and on the exhale, you're gonna lift up into like kind of a straight, strong line. Hold there, if you can. One more breath and then release. Whew, yeah, nice shoulder workout, hey? And opening through the front of our bodies too. So the reverse tabletop. Now, if you don't like the reverse plank, or if it's a little bit too harsh, you could do a tabletop. And I find that for me is easier. So knees will be bent, feet on the floor, inhaling and then exhaling, pushing your bum up. Yeah, nice, into a tabletop, good. Holding here for 3 breaths. Working on our shoulders. Your butt's probably clenched. Opening up the front, and then exhale. Nice. We will do one more like that, just creating a little bit of heat and strength for our shoulders. So you can choose to do the reverse plank or reverse tabletop. I'm going to try plank again, see how it goes. So inhaling, and then as you exhale, lifting up your bum, opening up your front of your body. Good, 2 more breaths. Ooh, and release. Woo. Okay, that was some I was shaking there. And then just to counteract that pose, we will do a forward fold, just a simple straight-legged forward fold. Mine does not even look like a fold, but believe me, my hamstrings are feeling it there. Couple breaths here. If you want, you can do butterfly, where your soles of your feet are together. Whatever forward fold feels best. So just breathe there for another 2 breaths. And then after, we're going to come into one core exercise before we come down and move into Shavasana. So coming up now from the forward fold, and then bringing your feet again, bending your knees, bringing your feet up. We're going to prepare for boat. So we'll do boat, and we'll try to hold it for 5 breaths if we can, 5 really long breaths. So opening up your chest, and then bringing your feet up off the floor, and your arms if that's available as well. Good, let's do 1. That's a really long one. 2. I'm already shaking. 3. Whew. 4. 1 more, stay with me. Good, and 5, and release. Good. Okay, letting that all go. Nice, we've really worked up some heat and a little bit of strength there, which is always good for our bodies. And now let's come down on our backs, and we'll do a supine twist on the floor. So coming down on your back, just wiggling around to whatever feels good. And then you're gonna straighten your left leg and bring your right knee into the chest. Maybe just squeeze your knee into your chest a little bit there. See how that feels. And then when you're ready, bringing it over to flop over to the left. You can use your left hand to help it as well, and you can just rest your hand gently on your left knee, opening up your right arm to the right. Feeling the opening in your chest, in your armpit, left side of your right side of your body. Big breaths here, just letting everything go now. Not needing to control or to use any strength anymore. Letting yourself flop open. Not caring about what it looks like. Just enjoying the feel of it now. Well, actually, we should never care about what it looks like, but I mean, not so, we don't have to really care much about our alignment here. You're just flopping. And then you can bring your right knee up again, and we'll just switch sides. So now bringing your right leg and straightening it out. Left knee to chest. Rock it around a little. Make it feel good. Then flop it over to the right. Opening up your left arm in a T. Taking your right hand and placing it gently on your left knee. Breathing here for a couple breaths. And then whenever you're ready to come out of it now, come into our final resting pose. Stretching out your legs, stretching out your hands and your arms to the side, whatever feels good. Just now letting everything sink into the floor, into the mat. Feeling a release in every single area of your body. Letting your body recalibrate and take in all the benefits of that beautiful practice. Relaxing here in Shavasana for about 5 deep breaths. Just letting your mind stay nice and clear and open, free of thoughts, free of worries, free of chatter, free of stories that you've been telling yourself. Just let it be free and open and expansive. And let your attention be focused but expansive. Three more breaths. If anyone is feeling a little down or a little blah or a little bit in a rut right now, just want to tell you that if you're in North America, and especially if you're in Canada, this is very normal to feel this way. Our days are so short. It's so rainy in Vancouver. It might be cold in other places, and it just starts to wear on you a bit. And so today I was just thinking about this saying, this too shall pass, and just remembering nothing is permanent. Everything moves and flows and changes, whether it's something that you're not comfortable with or something that you're very much enjoying. It's just not permanent. And so being able to welcome things, but knowing that they will be transient. And then also being able to welcome the times that you're uncomfortable too, and knowing those times will be transient. Good, so now coming onto your right side, rolling onto the right side, and just holding fetal position for a moment, resting the side of your head on your right arm, and then pushing up into a seated pose. Coming on up so that we can all have our hands to our heart in Anjali Mudra and just say namaste to each other. Thank you so much for meeting me here on the mat and for practicing with me and for allowing me to be in this space with you. Namaste.
Thank you, yogis. Have a wonderful night. I will see you here next week.